Decentralized finance is already revolutionizing the world of finance. You just don't know it yet.
What happens to the world economy when you bring 6 billion new people online? What happens to poverty across the world when you can extend financial services, opportunity, credit, liquidity?
The greatest dislocation of wealth in human history. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make? I'm in DeFi. All my relatives think I'm part of some criminal activity. Maxim, you sound like all of my students inside the DeFi Academy. I've got people, I think, in 43 countries around the world, and they are all the black sheep in their friends, their families, their communities. They're the weirdo. They're the ones that seem like the outliers in their community. And yet when they come inside our group, our incredible peer group and trading peer group inside the DeFi Academy, they realize that they have people of a similar mindset. They have people with the same vision, that see the future, that see a way to create generational wealth for ourselves and create financial freedom for billions of people in the world. This is a group of like-minded people who speak the same language. The banks are your enemy. And today is when you need to take control of your finances, and that's by understanding DeFi and crypto assets. Every aspect of your life is a financial transaction. Right now, you're paying rent. You're paying for your healthcare somehow. You're paying for your gym membership. You're paying for your food. And guess what? Your bank is taking a piece out of every single one of those transactions, and you don't even know it. Now they're fighting. And so they're putting out all this information out there. They're trying to, quote unquote, protect your money. And they're trying to stop cryptocurrency and DeFi from happening because they collect $9 trillion in fees every single year. So my question to you right now is, when will you wake up and educate yourself and invest in the DeFi and crypto assets? Is it going to be 2023, 2025, 2030? It's going to be too late unless you start today. Welcome to DeFi Live. My name is Brian Rose. I'm the founder and host of London Real, and this is our brand new program dedicated to everything known as DeFi or decentralized finance. This is a $9 trillion a year marketplace that's just waiting to be blown open, to be discovered. Today, I'm going to teach you how to profit from DeFi and what I'm calling the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history. It's happening right now. And today's show, I specifically want to talk about this, and this is a very serious issue. This is why the banks are our enemy and why it's time for you to take control of your finances with DeFi and crypto assets today. Let me repeat that. The banks are your enemy, and today is when you need to take control of your finances, and that's by understanding DeFi and crypto assets. I was on the phone with my mom last night, Betty Rose from San Diego, California. She's 76, and I was telling her about Bitcoin. I was telling her about Ethereum. She was writing everything down. She's watching my episode with Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy. My mom owns 50 apartment units in San Diego, and now she's interested in investing in crypto because she sees it as digital property of the future. My question for you is, what are you waiting for? You've all seen the headlines. This is happening in 2021. Don't be one of those people who's going to be left behind. And again, we've seen the biggest rally that we've seen in months right now. Bitcoin is blasted through 41,000. Ethereum is blasted through 2,600. And the rumor is that Amazon will be accepting Bitcoin as payment by the end of the year. We know that Apple Pay is hiring positions right now for accepting crypto on their platforms. Imagine what happens when Google jumps in. Imagine what happens. Twitter has already invested heavily. They're already big into this space. And we've seen, like I said, the CEO of MicroStrategy, a massive publicly traded company that's put $3.5 billion worth of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. What happened to their stock price? It went up 5x, 10x, 20x. And as their CEO, Michael Saylor, said to me live on London Real, he said, Brian, It's built our profile up 100 times. He said it's been the best move we've ever made. My question to you again is simple. When are you going to get involved? And what are you waiting for? I did a vlog today and I asked everyone, what are you waiting for? It feels like me back in 2019, back in 2020, when I heard everybody telling me that this was the future, but I wasn't taking action. Now, today, me and my entire team have gone all in on DeFi and crypto assets. For the next 10 years, we will be in this space. We will be teaching about this inside our DeFi Academy. And I just want as many people as possible to wake up to what's really going on in the banking sector and the governments, not to mention censorship, because when you finally wake up and notice, this will be the future. And again, I believe it's the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history. These are great times and these will be powerful times, but only if you get involved and get educated. And again, it's more than just you. It's a chance to finally give financial freedom back to the billions of what we call unbanked people in this world, people that don't have basic access to lending markets, basic access to borrowing markets. As I told my mom last night, I said, Mom, you and me, we can go get a loan from a bank. We can go invest in the stock market. What about that person in Kenya or Nairobi or Nigeria who can't even get a microloan for their business or for their farm, who can't even save some money in an asset besides their own local currency, which can be devalued, in their own business, which could be seized by a government? I'm talking about the billions of people out there that don't have the basic human right of financial freedom. This is what we're talking about, giving that back to them and empowering a whole, group of people in this world that just are not living the best life that they could. I think this is one of the last human rights that's being denied to people in the world, and we couldn't be more excited to be promoting it here on London Real and inside the DeFi Academy. But you have to understand DeFi and crypto assets if you want to trade it, if you want to build it and create this great infrastructure. And so today, I'm going to teach you three following things. The first is I want to show you why the banks are your enemy and not your friend. And this is coming from a guy who worked 15 years in the banking industry. In 1993, I started my job at Bankers Trust on Wall Street. This was at One Liberty Plaza, right next to the World Trade Center. I worked for the First National Bank of Chicago. I worked here in London for Intercapital. I did probably tens of thousands of transactions between all of the major global banks in the world over my 15-year history. And I saw what the banks do to their customers. And guess what? They do not do nice things to their customers. They are trying to rip out most of your money in every single transaction. Every time you walk into that marble floored lobby of your bank, every time you look at that very well-dressed teller in that beautiful building, you should ask yourself, who's paying for this? Guess what? You're paying for it, but you don't know how you're paying for it because they're ripping your throat out with all the transaction fees, all the hidden fees, everything that your bank does, and they're trying to stop crypto and DeFi from happening, and I want to talk about that today. The second thing I want to talk about is why governments do not want you to invest in crypto or DeFi. A government, you've seen the Federal Reserve, the Bank of England here in the UK. You've seen governments all around the world trying to enact legislation, trying to scare their citizens, even arresting some people that have been involved in crypto in the past. And I want to show you why they're doing it and why we have to resist that temptation and that push from our governments. And finally, I want to display to you in pure and simple terms why censorship is real when it comes to crypto and DeFi. You know, we spent the entire year of 2020 fighting against censorship from big tech. I went head to head with Google, Alphabet, the folks over at YouTube, as they tried to ban me from broadcasting the truth. They tried to ban freedom of speech. And we went on to publish 57 episodes of our own on our digital freedom platform. And we fought back against censorship. The same thing is happening in crypto right now. And I want to talk about it today because it affects you, it affects your financial future. It affects all of us as humans in this world if we want to make this world a better place. That's why we're here at London Real. That's why we've always been here. Got our 10-year anniversary coming up here in October. And I'm going to play for you some videos that I've recorded over the many years here. It's always been about getting you the information to empower you to take your life to the next level. And I want to talk about that today. And again, we've seen the news lately. The Bitcoin rally should wake you up. It's broken through 41,000. We've seen Ethereum break through 2,600. It's up. It's back down. It's unlike anything I've ever seen in the financial markets. It's extremely exciting. And yet, 95% of crypto day traders out there are losing money. You know who I'm talking about. Maybe it's you. You're out there buying Bitcoin, buying Ethereum, buying Dogecoin. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know why you're doing it. You're trading emotionally. You're trading on your mobile phone at night when you're drunk, when you're emotional, when you're tired. This is not the way you trade the markets. And I know this because I traded for 15 years of my life. And that's why inside my DeFi Academy, I teach people all around the world how to trade crypto assets in the DeFi markets. And my students are all making money. This has been an incredible week for all of my students. They're all up. They had a huge week, and they are positioned to have an incredible month with all of my trading strategies, with all of my disciplines in place. And I'll talk more about that later because I have taught them everything I learned back in the 90s, back in the 2000s, through very, very volatile markets. I've been through the financial crises. I've been through all of the issues. And I teach them how to use discipline, and we have a trading peer group, and we hold each other accountable, and that's why my students are making incredible gains. I couldn't be more proud of them. And that's what I teach inside the DeFi Academy, some of the lessons I learned from the greatest traders in the world. These are men and women I sat next to on the trading floors of New York City, in Chicago, and in London. And that's what I do inside the DeFi Academy. And just to finish up on DeFi, we know that Forbes magazine recently said this, and I quote, "This will shift the structure of the whole financial system at a macroeconomic level." And the truth is quite simply this: decentralized finance is already revolutionizing the world. You just don't know it yet. And this incredible marketplace, it's growing at breakneck speed. It's going to generate trillions of dollars of wealth, of opportunities. It's going to give financial freedom back to the 6 billion people in the world who don't have access to complex financial markets. And me and my team and my students are going to create generational wealth for ourselves. We're going to create infrastructure for the rest of the world. It's a win-win situation, which is why we've gone all in on DeFi for the next 10 years. We've created an academy. We're broadcasting. We're having the greatest minds in the world here live to broadcast out to you. And I'm trying to get as many people like you to wake up and really see what's happening. Don't just take the news for what it is. Don't listen to the banks and the governments and the technology platforms that censor you. It's time for you to get educated right now. And that's why we've created our DeFi Academy. And again, I want to create generational wealth for those involved and create financial freedom for everybody in the world. Today, I want to talk about 3 things. And let me show you some of the headlines. First of all, I want to talk about 1, why the banks are our enemy. And this is a recent headline. And again, HSBC faces questions over disclosure of alleged money laundering to monitors. HSBC has had a past littered with money laundering, littered. And yet the banks point at the crypto markets for where illegal activity is true, and that's not true. Now, back in 2017, I spoke with Andreas Antonopoulos, and he's one of the early pioneers when it comes to talking about Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to play some clips for him shortly. And he said to me, Brian, quote, "The biggest criminals in the world have banking licenses of their own." This gives me chills when I say it. "The biggest money launderers are the banks, obviously, because that's where the money is." Unquote. And I said the same thing to my mom last night. I said, of course that's where the banks are, because that's where the money is, and we know they're laundering money. And so when you hear different narratives out there that crypto is the enemy, that's not true. Your banks are the ones that have their own interests in mind. They are doing the money laundering, and we are now at war with our financial institutions because for hundreds of years, they've enjoyed you as a customer. They have run monopolies and oligopolies where you've had no choice but to go to a few players. They've kept their fees high. They've kept their hidden fees even higher. And centralized finance is now something that infects every aspect of our life, and you don't even know it. And guess what? It now has an enemy, and that enemy is called decentralized finance, crypto assets where you can trade money permissionlessly, anonymously, with very low transaction fees, and they are panicking as we speak. Now, I got a text message the other day, and I'll stick it on screen, and I'll talk more about it shortly. I stuck it up on Instagram. This is from my bank, NatWest, that's trying to protect me and my money by saying, guess what? You can't use your own money that you worked for to transact on this cryptocurrency exchange called Binance. And you can probably read that out there. This is the first time I've ever seen my bank looking out for me and my money. Usually they're busy stealing my money. And so again, this to me is a big alert that I wanted to show with you today. And we can see more of these headlines I'll throw up here. Here's another one. NatWest caps transfers to crypto exchanges, including Binance, over fraud concerns. And of course, if you live in Canada, you might have seen this message pop up on your screen, and we can see here the Royal Bank of Canada saying important information regarding crypto transactions, that RBC is not going to honor you using your money to make your choices on crypto exchanges. And look, we know what they're doing. They're panicking because they see their entire business model going down the toilet. And their business model, like I said, is to rip between 10 and 20% of your total net worth from you every single year. That's what happens in banking, and I know it because I used to work there. So I'll talk about that shortly. The next thing I'm going to talk about today is why governments do not want you to invest in crypto. Let me repeat that. Governments do not want you to invest in crypto. And you can see some of the headlines. Here's one here. And we can see a new bill proposed where the U.S. Treasury wants to have full authority over these fiat stable coins. And again, we see more and more meddling and more of our government trying to stop these crypto transactions. It's the wrong thing to do, and it's another reason that we need to be staying away from this. DeFi scares our governments to death, and we've seen another headline here in the news here in England, and you can see it. I'll read it out to you. It says, cryptocurrencies could lead to limitless losses for the UK government. Let me repeat that. This is The Guardian saying cryptocurrencies could lead to limitless losses for the UK government. When I read that headline, I had to read it like 10 more times. I said, wait a second, I'm the one investing in crypto. How could it lead to limitless losses for the UK government? Again, more scare tactics because the governments are in bed with the banks. How do we know that? What happened in the last financial crisis in 2008? The governments bailed out the banks. It's the same people involved. They go to the same clubs. They have the same financial interests. In Europe, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between a corporation like Daimler-Benz, the bank, Deutsche Bank, and Angela Merkel, the government, the entity there. It's hard to tell the difference because they're all the same thing to a certain extent. So you have to watch all of these things when they're telling you not to take control of your finances. And the last thing I want to talk about is why censorship is real in DeFi and crypto. Here's a tweet that came out just a few days ago from our good friend Ben Franklin, also known as BitBoy Crypto. Ben Armstrong, known as BitBoy Crypto. And he had just had his entire YouTube channel deleted. I kid you not. 1.13 million subscribers deleted. And all Ben does every single day is try to put out information about how you can safely invest in cryptocurrency and DeFi markets. Ben doesn't try to promote criminal activity or the overthrowing of governments. He's purely there to try to add information to people, and yet YouTube deleted his entire channel. We sent all of our support to Ben. We rallied alongside with thousands of other people in the Twitter space and the YouTube space. We got him replatformed, but it shows you censorship is real. And again, we know all about this because we had much censorship. We had deplatforming. We had videos banned and removed from YouTube last year. And we're still in a constant fight with our digital platforms to keep us on brand. And again, we see another article about what happened to BitBoy Crypto, and you can see it on screen here. And this one explains why was BitBoy Crypto banned from YouTube. The Twitter community saves the channel. And again, I just need all of you to be aware that censorship is real in crypto, and I'll talk more about that shortly. Finally, I just want to answer the question you're probably asking yourself, well, Brian, what can I do about this? It's quite simple. Today is the day you need to take control of your finances, take control of your future, and take control of your freedom. This is real. This is the last way that governments, banks, other people can control you. They do it through your money. They do it through your relationship with money. And today is the day to take this back. Your window of opportunity is small. You can do it with DeFi, decentralized finance. You can do it by owning crypto assets. And again, my mom, she's 76. She's getting into DeFi and crypto assets right now. And so what are you waiting for? That's my question. What are you waiting for? So today I want to answer your questions. I want to play a bunch of videos for you. This is live. Whatever your platform you're watching me right now, leave me some answers right now to the following questions. I just want to say what you're watching today is educational content. This is not financial advice. If you want financial advice, please contact a financial advisor. Now I want you to answer the following questions for me, and they're going right to my iPad, so I'm going to reply to you shortly. First of all, do you trust your bank to be 100% transparent about your financial best interests? Please explain to me why or why not. Second, do you trust your governments to act in your best interest when it comes to your money and your freedom to invest it and use it and how you choose? Tell me, do you trust your governments? Third, what questions do you have about DeFi for me, and why do you think it will revolutionize finance and give financial freedom back to the people? And finally, tell me, would you like to learn from me how to profit from DeFi and crypto assets in what I'm calling the greatest dislocation of wealth in human history? Put those questions in. They're coming to me right now. And before we get started and talking about banks and governments and censorship, so many of you have been sending me direct messages on Twitter, on Instagram, sending me emails. You're saying, Brian, what is going on with your brand new DeFi Academy? We read the reviews. I've spoken to your students, and they said this is the greatest thing they've ever done. In 4 weeks, they are already now invested in and making money in these markets. And it's quite simple. My DeFi Academy, well, it looks like this. If you go to londonreal.tv/DeFi, you'll see my DeFi Academy. And the first course we're teaching is called the DeFi Accelerator. And it's how you can unlock $9 trillion of wealth every single year. And if you join me, I'm going to teach you how to profit from this incredible dislocation of wealth. I'm looking for a small, select group of serious individuals who want to become part of and actively participate in what I'm calling the upcoming DeFi revolution. I'm looking for partners, for collaborators, for colleagues who want to join forces with me and London Real and the DeFi Academy and create real value for the end user and generational wealth for yourself. Our next live course is called the DeFi Accelerator. It's the keys to unlock this $9 trillion marketplace. And it starts tonight. Literally, we're hours away from my very first live call. There's only limited spaces available for this. We're literally closing this thing out in the next few hours. It's an application-only basis. It's 4 weeks. It's 4 modules. It's 8 hours of live calls with me. It's an incredible, incredible, incredible course. It's personal coaching by me, personal mentoring by me. It's exclusive access to our online e-learning platform where I have all my video modules, all my workbooks. You've got also my triple-tiered accountability system. You've got 10 of my team members, team leaders, community managers, accountability people to make sure you do the work and learn and invest in these incredible markets. This isn't something you watch. This is not like another podcast or another YouTube video. This is an interactive group of people who create a community and actually pull the trigger and invest in these markets. You've got my dedicated coaches. You've got my private groups where you're uploading video. You will get involved in DeFi if you join my course. We're running out of time. We're running out of spaces. If you want to be involved, go to londonreal.tv/DeFi, submit your application. Tell me why you should be a part of this group. What do you bring to the table? It could be anything. It could be enthusiasm, could be education, could be connections, could be anything. But I'm looking for the right group of people. I personally review these applications, and I will get back to you within hours with a yes or a no, whether you can join my course. My team and I have been inundated with thousands of applications from around the world. The response has been incredible. I've just graduated my first 200 students. The reviews were off the chart. This is the best course we have ever taught in 10 years. People are blown away. And my students are making money this week in DeFi markets. That's what we do here. This is about people who want to pull the trigger, who want to get involved here. I want passionate people. And I'll say this, if you receive one of these emails in your inbox that looks like this, I'll put the picture on screen, you know your life is about to change. And this is the acceptance email that basically said you have just been accepted into our DeFi Accelerator. If you get this into your inbox, that means you've gone to the website, you've applied. If you get this in your inbox, your life is about to change. Click on the link, pay the tuition, and join me on that first live call. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your future, and it's going to change the world. And I couldn't be more excited. One thing I want to say, if you want to apply, go to londonreal.tv/DeFi, DEFI. But I do want to say a couple things because this academy is not for certain people. Again, If you're one of the following people, please do not apply to my academy, and please stay away from my academy. And it's these people right here. First of all, the DeFi Academy is not for you if you are a crypto day trader. Please, all of you are losing money. Please stay away from my academy. That's not what this is here for. Second of all, if you're interested in getting rich quick, please go somewhere else. That's not what my academy is for. Third, if you're into these meme coins and you're one of these internet trolls that likes to talk about crypto, again, go somewhere else. If you're one of these blockchain fanboys that likes to talk about the tech but doesn't actually do anything about it, like I said, please stay away from my academy. And finally, if you're one of these crypto academics that likes to talk about the beauty of the blockchain and likes to talk about all the technology, that's not what the DeFi Academy is for, all right? I'm not interested. Please go somewhere else. I am looking for a small group of people who want to invest long-term in the DeFi ecosystem. I'm looking for people who want to pull the trigger, who want to get into the arena, who are prepared to experience failure and massive success. And again, to be clear, this is not some get-rich-quick scheme. This is a 10-year perspective on what I think is technology that's going to change the world. There's going to be incredible opportunities, and only people looking for these incredible gains need to apply. And again, we're going all in here for the next 10 years. We're closing this course out. The first live call is literally in hours. You'll see me live on Zoom, and I'm looking forward to speaking to all of my students tonight. If you want to be a part of it, click the link below, send me your application. I'll go review it after this live broadcast, and hopefully I'll see you here tonight. All right, let's get into this broadcast today. Remember, submit your questions below because we'll be answering them right after this first part. Again, tell me, do you trust your bank to be 100% transparent with you? Why or why not? Do you trust your governments to act in your interest when it comes to your money? Ask me what questions you have about DeFi, and finally tell me, would you like to learn from me on how to profit from DeFi and crypto assets during this incredible, incredible time? All right, let's talk about this. Why are the banks our enemy? Let's talk about it. And again, I'll put this headline back up, and a lot of people forget. Look, the banks that you do business with are the ones that are laundering money. And you'll see this. HSBC faces questions over disclosure of alleged money laundering to monitors. And we've seen a litany of this over the past 5 and 10 and 20 years. And my good friend Max Kaiser, who had me on his show, The Kaiser Report here in London, has documented for decades all of the money laundering and corruption going on with banks. And so it always makes me laugh when the banks point to the cryptocurrency markets as where illegal activity is going on, when, since the banks control most of the money in this world, by definition, they are doing the money laundering. And we know they are because they continually get caught. They continually pay hundreds of millions of fines, and we continually let it go. And we bail them out as governments with your money. And it was Andreas Antonopoulos, who was my guest here back in 2015, back in 2017, back in 2019. I've been talking about Bitcoin since 2013, by the way. And Andreas said this, and I'll say his quote again, and I'll play a video of him shortly. He said, Brian, quote, "The biggest criminals in the world have banking licenses of their own. The biggest money launderers are the banks, obviously, because that's where the money is." And he made a great point, and I'm going to play that video for you shortly. And again, we always know that the banks have their own interest in mind, but now we are at war with the banks because they see DeFi and decentralized finance as something that's going to break up their monopoly that they've had over your money, over your mindset, really, for the last few hundred years. They have been controlling almost every aspect of your life. Every aspect of your life is a financial transaction. Right now, you're paying rent. You're paying for your healthcare somehow. You're paying for your gym membership. You're paying for your food. You're paying for your children's education. And guess what? Your bank is taking a piece out of every single one of those transactions, and you don't even know it. Now they're fighting. And so they're putting out all this information out there. They're trying to, quote unquote, protect your money. And they're trying to stop cryptocurrency and DeFi from happening because they collect $9 trillion in fees every single year without you even knowing it. And that's going to disappear when it comes to crypto assets. And again, I got this text recently and I found it shocking, and I'll read it out to you. And it says this. This came from NatWest. "With regulatory uncertainty around Binance in the UK, we want to make sure your money is safe." Thank you, NatWest. "That's why we'll be declining all credit and debit card payments to them until further notice." That's fascinating, okay? And by the way, this is my money. I earned this money. I deposited this in a bank, and I allowed them to have custody over it. And now they're telling me how I can and cannot use my own money. And it's quite an interesting coincidence that they're doing it on a platform that allows me to make my own decisions about my own money. And again, when you get messages like this, when we see headlines like the one I'll put on the screen right now, which goes on to say that NatWest caps transfers to crypto exchanges, of course, including Binance over fraud concerns. And again, when you see things like this pop up, if you're an RBC customer, that says basically effectively immediately, RBC will no longer be allowing the use of RBC credit cards for transactions involving cryptocurrency. We regret any inconvenience this may cause. Do you? Really? When you start seeing messages like that, it's a sign. But it's not the sign that the banks want you to think. The banks want you to panic and think, oh my gosh, these are dangerous. I better stay away from this. It's a great way to lose money. The sign is this, is that they are losing control over you. They are losing their incredible amount of revenue they make from you every single day. And the sign is for you to wake up. And so my question to you right now is, when will you wake up and educate yourself and invest in the DeFi and crypto assets? Is it going to be 2023, 2025, 2030? It's going to be too late unless you start today. And that's why I'm putting out these broadcasts, because it's time to educate yourself in what's happening today. And again, I worked in these banks for years and years and years. I started in '93. I saw what they do from the inside. They know they have you as a captive customer, and they try to rip as big a fees as possible from you. They try to take as much transaction costs out of you, and they do it everywhere they can, from your savings to your 401k, to your pensions, to your school loans. Every single transaction, they try to take as much as possible, and they're going to continue to do this unless you diversify through the use of DeFi. And I want to play a short video here of Andreas Antonopoulos talking about some of the things happening behind the scenes in the banking industry. Listen to Andreas talk about the money laundering and some of the things happening inside the banks you do business with.
We're sitting at a historical crossroads where the future of money is going to be digital. We're seeing a concerted effort around the world to ban cash, to reduce the availability, the value, and the liquidity of cash everywhere in the world. We just saw India demonetize the top 2 value notes they have. Spain is passing a law to make it illegal to make any transaction more than 1,000 euros in cash. Probably the 500 euro, 100 euro notes are going to disappear eventually. You're seeing this process of demonetization, of removing cash from the economy in order to funnel it all into banking systems that are under constant control and surveillance. This is a very dangerous future.
And that's usually because they want the taxation or they want the legislation. Either they see that money used by corrupt parties, or they just use that as an excuse to control it.
The biggest criminals in the world have banking licenses of their own. They don't need to money launder. They own HSBC, and that money launders for them. You know, the biggest money launderers in the world are the banks, obviously, because that's where the money is. The easiest way to money launder is if you have a banking license. So, of course, the biggest money launderers have banking licenses. These are excuses. What they want to do, of course, is, they say, taxation and corruption. But in fact, this actually increases corruption. So removing cash from an economy and putting everybody under surveillance doesn't mean the criminals can't use money anymore. Of course they can. They will continue to do that. They will always have means of doing it. It just means that everybody else is under surveillance. So you end up surveilling the innocent. And what does that give you? That gives you political control. This is a very dangerous road we're going down.
And again, that's Andreas just doing an incredible job and saying with just deadpanned face, Brian, it's the banks that are the biggest criminals. And once we realize it, that's the only way to move forward. So again, please leave me your comments and questions below. Tell me, do you trust the banks to be 100% transparent about your financial best interest? Why or why not? Second, do you trust the governments to act in your best interest when it comes to your money and your freedom to choose to invest it? Third, any questions you have to me about DeFi and how we're going to revolutionize finance? And finally, would you like to learn from me how to profit from investing in DeFi and crypto assets. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to our Zoom audience. So if you could turn your cameras on and give me a wave. This is our in-studio Zoom audience. I'm giving all of you priority to questions, so turn those cameras on, let me see you. And now I want to go to your questions. These are all coming in from all over the world. I really appreciate that. Again, leave me a question right now, even if you haven't before. I got Tommy Villas via YouTube that says, quote, "Great stuff, Brian. Any recommendations for what to stake my DeFi with in crypto?" Okay, and so again, this is a great question. This is exactly the kinds of things we talk about in the DeFi Academy. One of the things that we go through in Module 4 is what I call the 10 coin rule. So most of my students are restricting their investments to 10 coins, which means they can focus a large portion of their portfolio on the specific coins that are going to make the biggest moves over the next 18 months to 36 months. And this is something we go into detail to. We also go into detailed trading disciplines, stop loss orders, how to be radically transparent with their peers so we can hold each other accountable. So Tommy, these are great questions. I think it's impossible to trade crypto without a trading peer group. And most of the people out there are doing it alone. And honestly, leave me a question or comment right now. Tell me, are you the only person that you get to talk to crypto about? I mean, do your friends and family think you're crazy? The other people that you talk about, is it in forums online? You don't know who they are? That's one of the great things inside our academy is we have real people. We see their real faces with real video, and we really talk to each other about our positions and our strategies. Most people that come to my academy, they're the only person that's actually thinking about crypto. Their friends and family think they're weird and crazy. We don't. We think you're smart and you're looking to the future. And Tommy, it's a great question, and that's something we cover inside the academy. I got Orbi Nagoka via YouTube that says, "I love this revolution. I want to be a part of it. How do I enroll as a student?" Great question. All you have to do is click the link below or go to londonreal.tv/DeFi. That's DEFI. Give me your name, your email address, and tell me why you should be a part of this group. Give me a short application and tell me what you bring to the table. I'm really excited for anybody here who wants to be a part of this revolution, and I couldn't be more excited. I got Stephanie Wimpenny on Instagram that says, "No, I don't trust them. Right now, our banks are holding us to ransom for simply wanting to refinance our home loan. No trust for governments." And Stephanie, I really appreciate that. You know, your bank right now is holding you ransom. Your bank right now is restricting so many things from you. It's restricting your options. It's restricting all of your potential alternative financial platforms. That's what DeFi brings to you. And yet you've got your bank that's trying to hold out, that's trying to really scalp you on fees for refinancing your home, your car, your student loans. This is what the banks do. They try to take every single opportunity to make more money for them. I've seen it happen from the inside. I've seen it happen from the outside. That's why you need to educate yourself when it comes to DeFi, because competition, it's the greatest thing. When it comes to what's happening right now between you and your bank, they are taking out 10, 20, 30% fees. You don't even know it's happening. The only way to fight back is to decentralize your financial activity. There are so many incredible options out there, but you've got to educate yourself today. So make sure you do. We're trying to educate the world inside our DeFi Academy. Again, we want to create generational wealth for our students, and we want to create long-term value for our customers and the billions of unbanked people around the world. And we couldn't be more excited about what we're doing here. It's so much fun. Our students are making a lot of really solid money and a lot of profits. They're also creating great infrastructure. A couple more questions here before I get into part 2 about governments. We got Boney Matthews on Zoom. What's up, Boney? Giving you a shout out here, who says, quote, "In your vision, what is the desired outcome for the collective group within the DeFi Academy? I get the individual part." That's a great question, Boney. And the truth is this. I believe in something that Andrew Carnegie once said. He said, "Financial motive must prevail." He said, "In all great acts, financial motive must prevail." Now, what does that mean? Well, for me, that means this. You could try to create new decentralized financial infrastructure. You could try to give banking services to the billions of people in Africa and Asia that don't have access to basic lending and borrowing. You could try to do that as a charitable act. You could try to do that just as a free service, but it wouldn't work because financial motive must prevail. We've always seen the best innovation happen when it comes to people creating companies that create profits from the innovation. Look at Google, look at YouTube, look at Amazon, look at Apple. They create great devices where they make a profit and they also help the end user. And that's what I'm talking about here, Boney. I believe the only way this works, not conditionally, the only way this works is for you to make money and create value for the end user through decentralized finance. Again, financial motive must prevail for all parties. The user has to have a win by getting a better financial transaction through the decentralized finance piece than their bank. And the creator of the infrastructure, which you're going to do by investing in these coins and these protocols and these dApps, you need to make money as well. It's a win-win situation from everyone. And that powers this invisible hand of capitalism. Adam Smith talked about it back in the day. And I'm a firm believer that's how you create wealth. It doesn't work when you try to create charities and give things away. And that's what I mean. And that's what we're doing inside our academy. And we couldn't have a better group of people with a better vision for the future. So again, we're giving financial freedom back to the people and creating generational wealth for ourselves at the same time. Some of you might have heard a gong that went in the background, and that just means that someone has just joined our DeFi Academy. It was Alyssa Summerfield. And Alyssa, I'm going to see you on the live call tonight at 6 p.m. UK time. Alyssa has just taken control of her financial future. She is now building her generational wealth. And again, that simple decision that Alyssa made today, it's going to really change her life. It'll change the life of her children, her grandchildren, entire generations, because she is now being proactive about her financial future. So Alyssa, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. If someone else wants to join Alyssa, go to londonreal.tv/DeFi, DEFI. Submit your application now. I'll read it right when I get done with this live broadcast. And again, the energy in this group is amazing. The community is amazing. And I'll tell you more about that shortly. A couple more questions before I get into it. I got High Thrive Life on Instagram that says, it's the same situation with the banks and crypto as happening in South Africa. And we've seen that now from a bunch of comments. We've seen this all over the world. It's not just the UK. It's not just the US. It's not just Canada. All of the banks are panicking because they see their $9 trillion a year marketplace disappearing in front of their eyes. And they're being complicit with the government in stopping you from investing in crypto. We are going to fight back here at London Real. We're not afraid of a fight. We fought for financial freedom last year. We fought for free and fair elections here in London when I ran for mayor early in the year. We went head to head with the police force and some of the political parties. And now we're going head to head with the banks and the governments to give financial freedom back to the people and give you choices when it comes to crypto assets and DeFi. And let's talk about this right now. This is part 2. Why governments do not want you to invest in crypto assets. And again, you can see the headline here on screen. I'll read it for you. This is a new bill proposed by the US Treasury to have full authority over fiat stablecoins. This just doesn't make sense to me. Stablecoins is one of the most incredible inventions of DeFi. Again, back when I was talking about Bitcoin in 2013 with Max Kaiser, when I was talking with Andreas Antonopoulos about the future of money in 2015, 17, and 19, stablecoins didn't exist. These are coins like Tether, USDC, others as well that are pegged to the value of the dollar. They take the volatility out of crypto, but they still allow you to transact anonymously, permissionlessly. It's a beautiful, beautiful invention. Thanks to our friends over at Ethereum and the smart contracts they've generated. It's one of the many innovative concepts that are going to change the game when it comes to DeFi, give your financial freedom back to you, and cut out all the fees you're paying to these banks. And guess what? The governments want to try to regulate this piece of digital innovation. That doesn't make any sense. But the governments are doing it because they are complicit with the financial institutions. And if you're like, if you don't see evidence of this, look what happened in the last financial crisis in 2008. The banks invested in risky assets. I saw it happen because I was in the city of London. I saw them investing in the credit default swaps, in the mortgage-backed instruments, and then we saw the banks fail. And what did the governments do? They used your taxpayer money to bail out the banks and save them from the losses. We saw no one go to jail. We saw CEOs get massive bonuses and paychecks. Trust me, all the bankers, we did just fine out of that crisis. And so we know the government and the banks, they act together. They act together in their monetary policies. They act together in their taxation policies. So we know one is going to back the other because ultimately it's about controlling you, controlling your money, and controlling your freedom. And you need to start looking at this right now. And here's another headline that came out here in the UK. And again, I was almost flabbergasted to read it. It says this: cryptocurrencies could lead to limitless losses for the UK government. Let me read that again. Cryptocurrencies could lead to limitless losses for the UK government. Now, again, this didn't make any sense to me because I'm the one investing in DeFi and crypto protocols.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.